It's Saturday night at 11. We're live and the lights of the city sparkle in the night, lighting the way through downtown Toronto. City TV and Chum FM present live from Avenue Road in stereo at St. Paul Center, the new music. Ladies and gentlemen, the power chord, heavy metal, act of Goddo!
The beauty of archival tape.
Guess who are those young boys?
Those crazy young rockers.
Yeah, it's nice to see that again. I haven't seen it about, 20-odd years?
Yeah, I think we were figuring it was 79 or 80. Greg Goddo is here of Goddo, and that was a look at a simulcast at City TV and Chum FM Day.
That was the first one.
Was that the very first one?
That was the very first one. It's funny because the leopard skin suit that I'm wearing there arrived at the church where we did whatever I'm trying to say here. It's early, thank you.
Yeah, it's very early.
2 minutes before we went on. And I was basically had jeans like I am now and stuff, and it arrived 2 minutes before we went on, so I was absolutely perplexed.
Well, you'd never know. You guys looked like you had a pretty tight ensemble going there.
It was a great evening.
Look at the hair, wow. That's amazing. And when did Goddo first form? When did the band come together?
1975. So this is, we're in our 31st year.
Wow.
Long time to keep a band together.
All mostly original members now, or?
The original band of Doug Inglis, who's with me today, and Gino Scarpelli, who left the band earlier this year, was together for 30 years.
That's saying something.
I mean, it survived longer than any of the 16 marriages we had.
that seems to often be the case in rock and roll bands.
Yeah, well,
the band stays together, and then everything else kind of comes and goes.
We all had different interests, so we never really got in each other's way too much. You know, like some people were into sleeping a lot, and other people were into going to museums. Everybody had various interests, and we stayed out of each other's way and managed to keep it together.
Mm-hmm. You've got a great book. It's called Travels with My Amp by Greg Goddo. Some of the stories in here, someone who opened for you, you paid him $100 in Barrie.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey was your opening act.
Yeah, I'd seen Jim at Yuck Yucks, and I thought he was wonderful. And because we were doing a live album in Barrie, we couldn't have an opening act that was musical because we had all the equipment set up for our sound. So I thought it would be interesting to have an up-and-coming comedian open up for us. So I talked to Jim, and he was a fan of the band. Now we're fans of him, of course, and negotiated a fee, astronomical fee of $100 per performance. But he only lasted about 20 minutes of the first night because they booed him off stage so bad that I went up on stage, and I've got photographs of wagging my finger at the audience and saying, "This guy's a friend of mine. He's going to be a major star someday. You mark my words." Now, of course, the guy gets $20 million a movie, so I saved $19 million. Yeah, he didn't, but he didn't show up the next night.
Yeah,
so we didn't have any, which was sort of funny because, you know, he was a real trooper. I mean, the guy lived in a van in Scarborough, but it's a great story. I mean, the fact that we had him there.
Yeah, it's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Another story that I like is a story of you being in Winnipeg in the airport, getting a little frisk.
Yeah, I was, we were leaving to fly back to Toronto. For some strange reason, about 50 of the fans of the band was quite big in Winnipeg, showed up at the airport, you know, which I'd never had happen, you know, with people showing up to wish you well, and off you go. And for some reason, the cops grabbed me and threw me up against the wall and started frisking me. And I looked like a mess because I'd been up partying all night after the show. And at that moment, I see this guy walk by me, and no one's paying any attention, and it's Johnny Cash. So after they finished with me and realized I had nothing to hide, I went over to Johnny, and he says, "Oh, I saw them giving you a rough time there." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "They never check me." And he opened up his coat, and he had a gun in a holster, and he walked right through security.
Because he's Johnny Cash. Who's going to stop him, man?
I think I had a switchblade comb on me, and that was the offensive weapon. So, back in the days when I had some hair.
Yeah. The book's called Travels with My Amp. It's terrific. And
can I just point this out?
Yeah.
You directors and screenplay writers, this would make one heck of a movie. Nudge, nudge, wink,
yeah,
wink.
listen, those two stories alone, please give me a break. It would be fantastic.
Yes.
Goddo's going to be performing as part of our Rap Rock and Retro series in just a few minutes. Great having you here.
It's a great pleasure. The main pleasure was coming down the Don Valley Parkway and being the only car on it.
Isn't that something? I know. That's when you're like, where am I? This can't be
And
true.
parking was good, too.
Greg Goddo. We'll be back with him in just a couple of minutes. First, here's Janet Live.
All right.
Here's to partying it up tonight, Kev.
Party!
No, don't.
Woo!
No, it's not that kind of party.
Okay.
Stick close.
Well,
to me.
Goddo's here. Come on.
Yeah, that's right. It's this kind of party now. Goddo will be performing again in just a couple of minutes, as a matter of fact.
Goddo!
Woohoo! Are we taking a break?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
We'll be right
We'll be
back.
right back.